We are facing an exponential threat. If you have a linear response to an exponential threat, it's quite likely the exponential threat will win. That, in a nutshell, is the issue. I'm not paying attention. We worry more about what name somebody called someone else than whether AI will destroy humanity. That's insane. As the algorithms and the hardware improve, that digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial margin. It's obvious. Humanity really is not evolved to think of existential threats in general. We're evolved to think about things that are very close to us, near term, to be upset with other humans, and not to really to think about things that could destroy humanity as a whole. But then in recent decades, just really in the last century, we had nuclear bombs, which could potentially destroy civilization, obviously. We have AI, which could destroy civilization. We have global warming, which could destroy civilization, or at least severely disrupt civilization.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
You know, it would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. When Homo sapiens became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all the other ones into small habitats. They're just in the way.
It's definitely going to be outside of human control.
Not necessarily bad, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just outside of human control. Now, the thing that's going to be tricky here is that it's going to be very tempting to use AI as a weapon. It's going to be very tempting. In fact, it will be used as a weapon. So the on-ramp to serious AI, the danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think, most likely. That'll be the danger. Yeah.
You could make a swarm of assassin drones for very little money by just taking the Face ID chip that's used in cell phones and having a small explosive charge and a standard drone, and have them just do a grid sweep of the building until they find the person they're looking for, ram into them and explode. You can do that right now. No new technology is needed. Right now.
People do.
Probably a bigger risk than being hunted down by a drone is that AI would be used to make incredibly effective propaganda that would not seem like propaganda.
So these are deep fakes.
Yeah, influence the direction of society, influence elections. Artificial intelligence just hones the message, looks at the feedback, makes this message slightly better. Within milliseconds, it can adapt its message and shift and react to news. And there's so many social media accounts out there that are not people. Like, how do you know it's a person, not a person?
I mean, most of the movies and TV featuring AI, they don't describe it in quite the way it's likely to actually take place. But I think you just have to consider, like, even in the benign scenario where if AI is much smarter than a person, what do we do?
Yeah.
What job do we have? Yeah, just like but that's the benign scenario. Benign scenario, the AI can do any job that a human can, but better.
Yeah.
That's the benign scenario.
Humanity. So it's very important that we have the advent of AI in a good way. That is something that if you could look into the crystal ball and see the future, you would like that outcome, because it is something that could go wrong, as we've talked about many times, and so we really need to make sure it goes right. That's I think AI, working on AI and making sure it's a great future. That's the most important thing I think right now, the most pressing item.
I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want. That would be insane. And mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Far. So why do we have no regulatory oversight? This is insane. So the rate of improvement is really dramatic. We have to figure out some way to ensure that the advent of digital superintelligence is one which is symbiotic with humanity. I think that's the single biggest existential crisis that we face, and the most pressing one.
I was at a meeting of all 50 governors and talked about just AI danger, and I talked to everyone I could. No one seemed to realize where this was going.
The singularity is probably the right word, because we just don't know what's going to happen once there's intelligence substantially greater than that of a human brain.
Showing that the advent of AI is good, or at least we try to make it good, seems like a smart move.
But we're way behind on that.
Yes, we're not paying attention. We worry more about what name somebody called someone else than whether AI will destroy humanity. That's insane. We're like children in a playground.
Intelligence will keep advancing. The only thing that would prevent it from advancing is something that puts civilization into stasis or destroys civilization. Then we have to figure out what is a world that we would like to be in, where there is this digital superintelligence. The best of the available alternatives that I can come up with, and maybe somebody else can come up with a better approach or better outcome, is that we achieve democratization of AI technology, meaning that no one company or small set of individuals has control over advanced AI technology. I think that's very dangerous. It could also get stolen by somebody bad, like some evil dictator or country could send their intelligence agency to go steal it and gain control. It just becomes a very unstable situation, I think, if you've got any incredibly powerful AI. You just don't know who's going to control that. So it's not as though I think that the risk is that the AI would develop a will of its own right off the bat. I think it's more that's the concern is that someone may use it in a way that is bad, and even if they weren't going to use it in a way that's bad, that somebody could take it from them and use it in a way that's bad. That I think is quite a big danger. So I think we must have democratization of AI technology and make it widely available. And that's the reason that obviously Yumi and the rest of the team created OpenAI was to help with the help spread out AI technology so it doesn't get concentrated in the hands of a few.
So it's really all about laying the groundwork to make sure that if humanity collectively decides that creating digital superintelligence is the right move, then we should do so very, very carefully. Very, very carefully.
My motivation, which was, what do we do about AI? The AI is very, very benevolent. Then how do we even go along for the ride? How do we participate? In order to solve full self-driving properly, you have to solve real-world AI. Because you say, what are the road networks designed to work with? They're designed to work with a biological neural net, our brains, and with vision, our eyes. And so, in order to make it work with computers, you basically need to solve real-world AI and vision, because we need cameras and silicon neural nets in order to have self-driving work for a system that was designed for eyes and biological neural nets. I guess when you put it that way, it's sort of quite obvious that the only way to solve full self-driving is to solve real-world AI and sophisticated vision. It took me a while to sort of realize this, that in order to solve self-driving, you really need to solve real-world AI. And at the point at which you solve real-world AI for a car, which is really a robot on four wheels, you can then generalize that to a robot on legs as well. The two hard parts, I think, it's not obviously companies like Boston Dynamics have shown that it's possible to make quite compelling, sometimes alarming robots. Right. So this is, from a sensors and actuator standpoint, it's certainly
been demonstrated by many that it's possible to make a humanoid robot. The things that are currently missing are enough intelligence for the robot to navigate the real world and do useful things without being explicitly instructed. So the missing things are basically real world intelligence and scaling up manufacturing. Those are two things that Tesla is very good at, and so then we basically just need to design the specialized actuators and sensors that are needed for a humanoid robot. People have no idea. This is going to be bigger than the car. Like, I think one of the things that's going to be important is to have a localized ROM chip on the robot that cannot be updated over the air. Where if you, for example, were to say stop, that would, if anyone said that, then the robot would stop, type of thing. And that's not updatable remotely. I think it's going to be important to have safety features like that. And I do think there should be a regulatory agency for AI. I've said this for many years. I don't love being regulated, but I think this is an important thing for public safety.
The scientific method, which I very much believe in, where something is true to the degree that it is testably so, and otherwise you're really just talking about preferences or untestable beliefs or that kind of thing. So it ends up being somewhat of a semantic question where we are conflating a lot of things with the word intelligence. If we parse them out and say, are we headed towards a future where an AI will be able to outthink us in every way? Then the answer is unequivocally yes. If you can't tell the difference, and this is sort of the Turing test, but think of a more sort of advanced version of the Turing test. If you're talking to a digital superintelligence and can't tell if that is a computer or a human, like let's say you're just having a conversation over a phone or a video conference or something where it looks like a person makes all of the right inflections and movements and all the small subtleties that constitute a human, talks like a human, makes mistakes like a human, at that, and you literally just can't tell, are you video conferencing with a person or an AI?
Might as well
Be
human.
I think there's a tremendous amount of investment going on in AI. Where there's a lack of investment is in AI safety, and there should be, in my view, a government agency that oversees anything related to AI to confirm that it does not represent a public safety risk. Just as there is a regulatory authority for, just like the Food and Drug Administration, there's NHTSA for automotive safety, there's the FAA for aircraft safety. We generally come to the conclusion that it is important to have a government referee or a referee that is serving the public interest in ensuring that things are safe when there's a potential danger to the public. I would argue that AI is unequivocally something that has potential to be dangerous to the public, and therefore should have a regulatory agency, just as other things that are dangerous to the public have a regulatory agency. People in the AI community refer to the advent of digital superintelligence as a singularity. That is not to say that it is good or bad, but that it is very difficult to predict what will happen after that point, and that there's some probability it will be bad, some probability it will be good. We obviously want to affect that probability and have it be more good than bad. My prime motivation, which was, what do we do about AI? Like, what do we do about artificial general intelligence? If we have digital superintelligence that's just much smarter than any human, how do we mitigate that risk at a species level? How do we mitigate that risk? And then even in a benign scenario where the AI is very, very benevolent, then how do we even go along for the ride? How do we participate? The biggest limitation in going along for the ride and in aligning AI, I think, is the bandwidth, the how quickly you can interact with the computer. So we are all already cyborgs in a way, in that your phone and your computer are extensions of yourself. And I'm sure you found, like, if you leave your phone behind, you end up tapping your pockets, and it's like having missing limb syndrome. Like, where the phone is leaving your phone behind is kind of like a missing limb at this point. You're so used to interfacing with it. You're so used to being a de facto cyborg. So what's the limitation on a phone or a laptop? The limitation is the rate at which you can receive and send information, especially the speed with which you can send information. So if you're interacting with a phone, it's limited by the speed at which you can move your thumbs, or the speed at which you can talk into your phone. This is an extremely low data rate. Maybe it's like 10, optimistically 100 bits per second, but a computer can communicate at gigabits, terabits per second. So this is the fundamental limitation that I think we need to address to mitigate the long-term risk of artificial intelligence, and also just go along for the ride.
I think AI is going to be incredibly sophisticated in 20 years. It seems to be accelerating, and the tricky thing about predicting things when there's an exponential is that an exponential looks linear close up, but it's not linear. So, and AI appears to be accelerating, from what I can see. Well, I had sort of a debate about something like, is AI accelerating or not? And he was saying, well, what's the y-axis? If it's accelerating, you have t on the x-axis, but what's the y-axis? I said, well, I thought about that, and I think you could have a recursive y-axis, so that if at any point in time your predictions for AI are coming sooner or later, that actually would help define whether it's accelerating or not. If you find your predictions are going further out or coming closer in, that actually is one way to think of acceleration. Because otherwise, what's the qualitative or quantitative measure of AI? In terms of getting excited about it, I mean, it's like I think we'll probably start seeing like more like truly cyborg activity, like human brain like brain computer interfaces.
Well, like I said, AI and robotics will bring out what might be termed the age of abundance. Other people have used this word, and that this is my prediction. Will be an age of abundance for everyone. I guess there's the dangers would be the artificial general intelligence or digital superintelligence decouples from a collective human will and goes in a direction that for some reason we don't like, of whatever direction it might go. That's what sort of the idea behind Neuralink is, to try to more tightly couple collective human will to digital superintelligence. And also along the way solve a lot of brain injuries and spinal injuries and that kind of thing. So even if it doesn't succeed in the greater goal, I think it will succeed in the goal of alleviating brain and spine damage. Neuralink is to help solve brain injuries and existential risk with AI, love of humanity.
Tesla's goal from when we started it has always been to accelerate sustainability. So that is still our primary goal by far. We have a secondary goal, which is to solve at least real-world intelligence as it applies to self-driving cars, and then potentially, with humanoid robots. So Tesla is in part an AI company, and increasingly an AI company, but is still primarily a sustainable energy company. I think AI, what will AI do? I don't think we need AI to solve sustainability. That is happening. It might help us accelerate it. But I think we should also be cautious about AI and just make sure that as we develop AI, that it is, it doesn't get out of control, and that the AI helps make the future better for humanity. I think we should be more worried about AI safety than we currently are. Especially, the future wars are really going to be, and we're seeing a taste of that in Ukraine, very much drone wars. So, if your drones are better than their drones, then you win, basically. That's what will happen. I also have mixed thoughts about AI. We've got to watch out for AI being a danger, but it's happening either way. So,
guess if we do it, we can try our best to make sure it is positive, good AI. AI is going to be a very important part of the future. Self-driving is obviously one of the functions, and hopefully.
The reason I created Neuralink was long-term as a risk mitigation for digital superintelligence, in that if we are able to effectively achieve symbiosis with digital intelligence, then we're sort of, the collective human will is better able to steer things in a direction that we'd like, or even with benign AI, at least go along for the ride. Well, I've said for a long time, I think AI safety is a really big deal. And we should have some regulatory agency that is overseeing AI safety. But there is not yet currently any such thing. And just generally any kind of regulatory agency done by the government will usually take years to put in place. So, after the population collapse issue, I think AI safety is probably the second biggest threat to the future of civilization. Like I said, I'm not quite sure what to do with it. Tesla is arguably the world's biggest robot maker, because we have basically semi-autonomous cars that will ultimately be fully autonomous. And we are building a humanoid robot that will be basically like the car, but with legs. And I kind of held off on doing that for a while because I certainly don't want to hasten the AI apocalypse. But clearly, with looking at Boston Dynamics, and like this humanoid robots are going to happen. So they're really going to happen with or without Tesla. So it's like Tesla got a little bit more, a lot more ability to ensure robotics safety in AI. And I'll try my best to do that.
One of the reasons for World War III would be if one country has, or one place has advanced AI technology and other powers want it, or they're worried about some country gaining advanced AI that would give them a strong advantage in war, then they may be tempted to attack before the country that is developing strong AI has that for use in weapons technology. With respect to AI and robotics, I always approach these things with some trepidation because I certainly do not want to play a hand in anything that could potentially be harmful to humanity. Humanoid robots, they're clearly happening. When you look at like Boston Dynamics, the demonstrations of that every year. So there will be humanoid robots. The rate of advancement of AI is very rapid. Even if Tesla stopped doing AI, I think we're still on a track to develop artificial general intelligence, mini intelligence smarter than the smartest humans. Optimus is a general purpose sort of worker droid. So the initial roles for Optimus would be in work that is repetitive, boring, dangerous, that kind of thing. Basically work that people don't want to do unless they're paid to do it. Humanity has designed the world to interact with a bipedal humanoid with 2 arms and 10 fingers. So if you want to have a robot fit in and be able to do things that humans can do, it must be of roughly the same size and shape and capability.